Hi guys, welcome back. Today we are going to be multiplying polynomials. So in class we talked about adding and subtracting, so now our next step is multiplying. So if you open your book to page 246, that is where we'll be in the Springboard book. You'll want a pen or a pencil so that you can follow along, and probably a calculator. Okay, so first thing here, it says that the standard form of a polynomial is this long equation, where a is a real number and a sub n is not equal 0, with all terms combined and written in descending order. So that's really the big thing, is that you want to pay attention to the exponents and make sure those are written in descending order. And that is standard form, just like what we talked about with adding and subtracting. You want to make sure it's in that form. Okay, so we're going to kind of ignore some of the steps in the Springboard book, and we're going to use box method. Okay, so it says the steps to multiply are shown in this box, but really what we're going to do is we're going to multiply these two polynomials together, x plus 3 being a binomial and 4x squared plus 6x plus 7 being a trinomial. Okay, but what you want to notice here is that I have also included some exponent rules for you guys, because it's going to be important that you know those very quickly, especially like these three. Okay, so basically what this means is that when you are multiplying two terms with exponents, you actually add those together. When you are dividing two terms with exponents, you subtract the exponents. And then when you have a power or an exponent to another power, you actually multiply those. Okay, so we're going to be focusing on those, and we'll take a look at that as we go. Okay, now one way you could, so I know we talked about FOIL method before, and technically you could use a method similar to that. You could use this distributive method, where you would have to multiply, 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 and then multiply, 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 and combine like terms. And that's kind of what they do here, which is fine. It works, but I find that students make more mistakes that way. So I prefer using box method. It's visual, and usually people make less mistakes using box method. Okay, so what I've done is I took the x plus 3, the binomial, and I put that here. And then I took the 4x squared plus 6x plus 7, and I put that here. And I'm going to go ahead and multiply these. Okay, so 4x squared times x. Remember, this is like x to the first power. So what you're going to do is you are going to use your product rule, and you are going to add those exponents. So 2 plus 1 would give us 4x to the third power. Okay, then we need to take 6x times x, which would be 6x squared. 7 times x, which is 7x. 3 times x squared, which is 12x squared. 6x times 3, which is going to be 18x. And then 3 times 7, which is 21. Okay. From here, you are just going to combine like terms. So we have x squared, and we have x and x. So we're going to combine those. And then we're going to write it all out in standard form, meaning from the highest exponent down to our lowest. Okay, so we're going to start with the x cubed, then move to the x squared, then move to the x, then move to the constant. So we start with 4x cubed. Then we add 12x squared and 6x squared for an 18x squared. Then we add 18x and 7x for a 25x. And then plus 21. And that is your final answer. Okay. So that's why we are, it's called multiplying polynomials, because we've talked about binomials and trinomials, but polynomials, poly means many, so it can have many terms. And it doesn't always start with just x or x squared. It can start with x cubed, x to the fourth, x to the fifth, and so on and so forth. So that is a polynomial, meaning it has many terms. Okay? So let's go ahead and do a couple extra practice problems. And we're actually going to do number 7 on page 247. We're going to do A, B, C, and D, but we're going to do them on separate pages so we have a little bit more room. If you guys want, you could probably do them in this little section here. So what I've gone ahead and done is created my boxes already just to save a little time. So if you guys want to pause the video and do that as well, that would be a good idea. Okay. But we have in this first one, x plus 5 times x squared plus 4x minus 5. So I made my box. It's a 3 by 2 because I have a binomial and a trinomial. And I'm going to go ahead and start multiplying. So x times x squared, x cubed, x times 4x, 4x squared, x times negative 5, negative 5x, 5 times x squared, 5x squared, 5 times 4x, 20x, and 5 times negative 5 is negative 25. Again, combine like terms. Whoops. So we've got these x squareds and these x's, and write it in standard form. So x cubed plus 9x squared plus 15x minus 25. And that's it. Okay, so that is your final answer. Okay. All right, then this next one. We have 2x squared plus 3x minus 8. So that's what I put on the top of the box. And then 2x minus 3, that's on the side. If you did it the other way, that's fine for any of these as long as you fit all of your terms. So 2x squared times 2x is going to be a 4x cubed. 2x times 3x is 6x squared. So this is where you have to be very good at multiplying your coefficients. So 2 times 3 is 6, and then x times x is x squared. So you have to be very good at knowing those rules, okay? 2x times negative 8 is negative 16x. Whoops. Negative 3 times 2x squared is negative 6x squared. Negative 3 times 3x is negative 9x. And negative 3 times negative 8 is a positive 24. Again, combine your like terms here and write it in standard form. So 4x cubed. 6x squared minus 6x squared is going to be 0x squared. So you can either write that in or you can just leave it kind of canceled. And then negative 9x plus negative 16x is going to be a negative 25x. And then plus 24. Okay, so that is your final answer. 4x cubed minus 25x plus 24. All righty, moving right along. In this next one, be careful with this. You have two quadratic or trinomials. So this is actually going to be a 3 by 3. So this is one I would definitely say use box method because this gets a little bit confusing when you have to do all of this. Whoops. All of this multiplying, okay? And you end up multiplying 9 times, just like there are 9 boxes here. But it's a little bit easier to see when you're using box method, okay? So I have x squared minus x plus 2 on the top, and I have x squared plus 3x minus 1 on the bottom. So take your time and work through these. So x squared times x squared is x to the fourth. X squared times negative x is a negative x cubed. X squared times 2 is 2x squared. Whoops. Come on. Okay, here we go. Then move to the next row. 3x times x squared is 3x cubed. 3x times negative x is negative 3x squared. 3x times 2 is 6x. Then move to the next row. Negative 1 times x squared is negative x squared. Negative 1 times negative x is a positive x. And negative 1 times 2 is a negative 2. So now we need to combine like terms. So we've got these x cubes, we've got these x squared, and we've got these x's. So let's go ahead and write it in standard form. X to the fourth power. Then we have 3x cubed plus negative x cubed, so that's a 2x cubed. And then we have negative x squared plus negative 3x squared, so that's negative 4x squared. And then plus 2x squared, so negative 2x squared. And then we have x plus 6x, so 7x. And then minus 2. So this would be your final answer. All right. So you just have to be careful that you're doing all of your multiplying correct. And then you need to make sure you combine like terms correctly and you're good to go. All right, then this last one, x squared minus 1 times x cubed plus 4x. So these are actually two binomials, but we do have some higher exponents. So let's go ahead and multiply these. So x cubed times x squared. So this is going to be, remember, you have to add these exponents when you're multiplying two terms. So that would be x to the fifth power. Be careful with that. Then x cubed times negative 1 is negative x cubed. Then 4x times x squared. Remember, again, you're adding, so that's going to be 4x cubed. Oops. And then 4x times negative 1 is negative 4x. So now we're going to combine like terms here and write it in standard form. So x to the fifth. 4x cubed minus an x cubed is a 3x cubed. And then minus 4x. And that's your final answer. Okay. So that's it for today on multiplying polynomials. If you have any questions, we will be doing some extra practice tomorrow in class. Have a good one. Bye-bye.